A book about 200 angels who came to Earth, slept with human women, and created a race of cannibal giants, and the church decided you shouldn't read it. The Book of Enoch is the most famous book you've probably never read, at least not in your standard Sunday morning Bible. It's a text filled with giants, fallen angels, cosmic travel, and vivid prophecies. If you've ever wondered why something so fascinating didn't make the final cut, you're not alone. But the truth isn't usually a Dan Brown-style conspiracy. It's a mix of historical detective work, theological debates, and a whole lot of ancient politics. Today, we are looking at the 7 primary reasons why the Book of Enoch was excluded from the biblical canon. The question of who actually wrote it. In the world of ancient literature, there's a term called pseudepigrapha. It literally means false superscription. The Book of Enoch claims to be written by the biblical patriarch Enoch, the man who walked with God and was taken to heaven without dying. However, when scholars analyze the text, they find it wasn't written by one person in the pre-flood era. Instead, it's a collection of several distinct works written between 300 BCE and 100 BCE. By the time the early church was formalizing the Bible, they looked for apostolic authority for the New Testament and prophetic authority for the Old. Since the Book of Enoch was written centuries after the last Hebrew prophets, but claimed to be thousands of years older, early leaders viewed it as a pious fiction rather than a divinely inspired record. They respected the content, but they couldn't vouch for the author.
The angelic problem. If you've read Genesis, you know the story of the fall of man involves a serpent and a piece of fruit. But the Book of Enoch tells a very different, much more graphic story. It focuses on the Watchers, angels who were supposed to guard the earth, but instead became obsessed with human women. According to Enoch, these angels descended to Mount Hermon, took wives, and taught humans forbidden knowledge like metallurgy, sorcery, and even makeup. This resulted in the birth of the Nephilim, cannibalistic giants who terrorized the earth. Early church fathers, particularly in the Roman and Greek worlds, found this highly problematic. The idea of spiritual beings having physical, sexual relations with humans didn't sit well with the developing theology of the time. St. Augustine, for one, pushed hard against this literal interpretation, preferring to see the sons of God as the righteous line of Seth rather than literal fallen angels.
Rejection by the Jewish community. It's important to remember that the early Christians didn't create the Old Testament from scratch, they adopted the Hebrew Bible. By the end of the 1st century, Jewish leadership was moving toward a standardized canon. They ultimately rejected Enoch for several reasons. It was written in Aramaic, mostly. It was associated with the Essenes, a sect that lived in the desert and was often at odds with the mainstream Pharisees, and it didn't align with the strict Mosaic law they were trying to preserve. Because the Jewish community, who were the original stewards of the Hebrew Scriptures, didn't recognize Enoch as scripture, the early Christian church saw no reason to include it in their own Old Testament. To them, if it wasn't in the Hebrew Bible, it shouldn't be in the Christian one. Competing narratives on the origin of sin. This is a major theological sticking point. Traditional Christianity and Judaism place the origin of human suffering on the shoulders of Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. The Book of Enoch, however, shifts a massive amount of that blame onto the fallen angels. In Enoch's version, humanity was relatively innocent until the Watchers corrupted them with forbidden secrets. If the church had adopted Enoch as core scripture, it would have fundamentally changed the doctrine of original sin. If the primary problem was angelic interference rather than human rebellion, the logic of the entire salvation story starts to shift. The church chose to stick with the Genesis narrative of human choice and consequence.
Lack of universal use. To get into the Bible, a book generally had to be Catholic, with a lowercase c. This means it had to be used and accepted by the majority of Christian churches across the known world. While the Book of Enoch was incredibly popular in certain pockets, like the community at Qumran or among some early Egyptian Christians, it never gained universal traction. In the West, Particularly in Rome and Carthage, the book was viewed as apocryphal, meaning hidden or obscure. Without that broad empire-wide consensus, the book was eventually pushed to the sidelines of official church services and relegated to the private libraries of scholars.
The text literally disappeared. You can't include a book in the Bible if you can't find a copy of it. By the 4th and 5th centuries, as the Roman Empire became officially Christian, interest in Enoch began to die out in the Latin and Greek-speaking worlds. Over time, copies weren't made, and the text was essentially lost to the West for over 1,000 years. It was only preserved by the Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church, which still considers it canon today. For the rest of the world, Enoch was a ghost, until 1773, when explorer James Bruce brought 3 copies back from Africa. By then, the Western Bible had been set in stone for over a millennium. The final councils. The formalization of the Bible happened over several centuries, culminating in meetings like the Council of Laodicea and the Council of Carthage. These weren't necessarily secret meetings to suppress truth, but rather administrative sessions to decide what was safe to read in church. The criteria were strict. Is it consistent with the rest of Scripture? Is it used by the whole church? Does it have a verifiable link to a prophet or apostle? Enoch failed on almost all these counts. By the time the dust settled, Enoch was classified as useful to read for history, but not breathed by God for doctrine. Even though it's not in the canon, its influence is everywhere. The New Testament book of Jude even quotes it directly. So while it may have been removed from the list of official scripture, its impact on how we understand angels, demons, and the end of the world remains undeniable.